Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I am a knitter and maker living in Seattle, Washington, and today I want to talk to you about everything that I worked on in the month of February, and I guess also part of the month of March since we're about halfway through now. The reason that this video is late is because I had a baby about 3 weeks ago. She's doing great. I'm very happy. She's the best baby ever. She sleeps well and eats well, so I feel very lucky. And I've been able to get a little bit of knitting done since she got here. I have less knitting time than I used to, but I'm still getting some knitting done. So I'm going to talk to you about what I've been working on. I've also been doing some spinning, so I'll show you that. I have a little acquisition at the end, so that is what we'll do today. I think it'll be relatively short, but you never know. Yeah, okay. I guess I kind of have a finished object, not really finished. The only thing that that is different really since the last time you saw me is this blanket. This is the blanket I made for my daughter. And I say it's finished, but it's not really finished because I want to keep adding to it. But this is a modified version of the Stella Quilt Cushion by Laura Penrose. The pattern is for a pillow, which this is not, obviously. And I know that Laura is working on a blanket pattern, but obviously I wanted to have this blanket somewhat done by the time my baby got here. So I used the pillow pattern and modified the stitch counts a little bit to make it have smaller blocks, because in the original pattern, one block would be about the size of 4 of the blocks that I have here. And I just wanted the blocks to be a little bit smaller so that I could have more of them and get more of like I don't know, it's a small blanket, it's for a baby. So it's just the desire that I wanted. So if you have the pattern, I have sorry, I'm like kind of scattered. Obviously I'm not sleeping that well, but I'll try and be coherent. If you have the pattern, the modification I did to get these smaller blocks is that I'm using the counts, this is kind of hard to explain, but I'm halving the stitch counts for the Aran weight gauge of the pattern, but I'm knitting in DK. So I think in the pattern, you end up with like an 18-inch square block. These are about 9 inches. So half as big as the pattern says because I have the stitch counts, makes sense. But I am using DK weight yarn to make this. This is just a plain white sock yarn held double, and this green is Filatura di Crosa Zara, they're both superwash merino. This one has nylon, the green does not, but they're superwash merino, which is great because she's already sped up on this and I need to wash it. But I did a good job of wiping it off, and it's wool, so it's like self-cleaning, I don't know. But anyway, so far I have 9 of my little blocks and I have seamed them all together. The back is less cute than the front. There's a lot of little ends. That's the one thing about this pattern, is there are a lot of ends, so you have to weave in as you go, or else you're going to be miserable. But all in all, it's really cute. So yes, like I said, I have 9 squares, which is a decent size. I think I had 6 the last time I talked to you. So it looks like this the last time we spoke. And it's this big now. My goal was to add 3 squares a month. I haven't done any in the month of March yet, and we're about halfway through. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I do want to keep adding to this. I have enough yarn to do probably double this size, but I don't know how huge I want it to be. We'll see. And now that I have like stepped away from this, I probably finished. This was done by the time she was born, and that was 3 weeks ago. So I haven't knit any new squares in 3 weeks, probably a little bit more than that. But I do really love the way that it looks. This color is coming across really dark on the camera, but it's kind of like a bluey green. But I like the contrast. I think it's really pretty. It looks very like classic American quilt. So I'm very happy with it. And I do want to keep knitting. The only thing is that I haven't washed or blocked this since seaming the blocks together, the little squares. Each of the individual squares has been blocked, but it hasn't been blocked as a whole, so it's kind of stiff still. I think once it's wet blocked, it will like have a little bit more drape. It is like this sock yarn held double is kind of a stiffer fabric. It's definitely stiffer than the contrast color, but it's still a nice blanket. It's very warm. It's got like a good weight to it. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Like I said, it's kind of done, kind of not. I want to keep adding blocks to it, at least 3 more, like to make it just a little bit bigger. pretty good size. So that's where we're at with this. I'm very happy with it. I seamed the blocks together by just doing a crochet slip stitch. And I tried to do it on this side. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. This is what the inside looks like. And I kind of tried to do the slip stitch on the white. So I would hold the two blocks together and I tried to keep it so that the stitches are on the white side. I think it just makes it less obvious on the outside where the join is. I wasn't able to do that everywhere. There's like when I would like seam 3 blocks together, like this short lays, and then I would do the long way is how I've done it so far. And there's somewhere where the seam is on the green side and you can kind of tell, but now I can't find it. So whatever. The only other thing that I'm thinking about, I was watching Inga, my dear friend Inga from Knitting Traditions. I was watching her video the other day, and she has made the blocks in their original size. She has 4 of them and wants to seam them together to make a blanket. And she was thinking maybe she would follow the instructions for the backing of the pillow to make a backing for the blanket so that all of the ends aren't showing through. And I thought that was a fabulous idea. I don't know if I have enough yarn to do that. Probably not, but I think it was a really good idea. The pillow, you can do like on the bias backing, and then you just seam it up at the bottom so it would have 2 layers of fabric. And Inga was saying she would like want to secure it to the back so it's not like a giant 2 pieces of fabric. And when she was saying that, I was thinking about these quilts that my mom used to make, where they were like pretty simple, but you would just tie them in a couple of places. So I think if I were to knit a backing, I would do some you basically put a string through the 2 pieces and then just tie it in a knot. I'll see if I can find a picture of what I'm talking about so you can see. But that would help the fabrics stick together a little bit more, and not just be like 2 giant loose pieces of fabric with nothing in the middle. And you could do as many of those little ties as you wanted. Like you could do them on each corner of the middle square, or you could just do them on each corner of the big square. So that's a possibility. I'm not sold on that yet because, again, I don't know how big I want to make this and I don't know how much yarn I would have left at the end. But either way, I don't think I'm going to do a border on this. I don't know. I feel like the edges are pretty clean as they are, and I don't really want to have to do like an I-cord or anything. So that's my plan for this for right now. I'm going to add a few more blocks and maybe copy Inga's idea of doing a backing. I think it would look a little cleaner, and it would be so warm if it had a backing. But anyway, I'm again very pleased with this. I love how the little squares come together to make this little checkerboard. I just think it's turned out really pretty, and I'm really happy with it. It's a great pattern. Would highly recommend. I do want to make the pillow version at some point for the nursery upstairs. Just haven't gotten there yet. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's very cute, and it's a good size for her right now. It's good for the car seat. It covers her pretty easily. So as she grows, she'll need it to be a little bit bigger, but she's still little right now, so it works great. Yeah, so that's my main finished object. Now we've got some works in progress. I would say the biggest one, the main one, you haven't seen yet, but I've been talking about it for months. And that is my Miles shirt jacket. And I hadn't even cast this on when I talked to you last, but I've actually just finished the body of the jacket. It's still a little damp because I blocked it last night. But this is the body of my Miles shirt jacket by Ozetta. And it doesn't look like much, but it is a very long jacket with this really pretty hem detail with short rows that makes it look like a tailored shirt. It's drop shoulder, so you do the back, you do these increased panels all in the shoulders to get this little bit of shaping, and then you pick up for the front and knit all the way down. And yeah, I'm making this in Manchilopes, which is the recommended yarn. This is the only time I've ever in my life used the recommended yarn for a pattern. But I bought this yarn expressly to make this pattern. I love unspun yarn, and I wanted to use this yarn. So this is the medium brown, I want to say, not the darkest brown. Yeah, that's like the big thing for right now. It's a really pretty, I love the color, how it's turning out. The one thing I'm a little bit frustrated about is that I have some rowing out, and you can probably see it. I tried to counteract it. I tried a few things. I tried to like use a smaller needle size on one side, but I think actually I couldn't figure out if it's my pearls that are looser or my knits that are looser. I think it actually might be my knits that are looser and that are causing the long rows, but I can't figure it out. I feel like it looks a little bit better after blocking than it did before, but you can just like, I mean, I don't think normal people would be able to really notice, but they are just like, I can see that there's some rowing out, and you can tell on the pearl side always where there's like the gapping. But I think it looks okay. And like I tried to fix it and I couldn't, so there's like really nothing that I could do about it. And I don't think it like ruins the piece or anything. I think actually because it's all knit flat that it looks okay. Like sometimes if you do a drop shoulder and there's rowing out in the top, and then when you join in the round there's not anymore, it's even more noticeable. So the fact that it's all knit flat and there's rowing out over the whole piece, I think almost helps a little bit. You can kind of see, I don't know, there's some places where it's worse than others. Actually doesn't look that bad here. There's a couple, I don't know, I can see it and I know it's there, and so I find it annoying. But anyway, yeah, let me actually, I haven't tried this on to see where it's gonna land since I blocked it. So I don't know how well we're gonna be able to see this here. Let me scoot you back. Here we are. Okay, so it's like pretty long. It got longer with blocking. Pretty long in the back, covers my bum. There it is. The hem is so cute. I really like it. So yeah, that's the body. That's the body of my Miles shirt jacket. And so now I just have to do the sleeves and the collar and the button band and one more pocket and sew the pockets on, because the first pocket I did as a swatch. So that's where we're at with this. I'd say I'm like about halfway done, I guess. Sorry if the microphone is getting weird. So yeah, I'd say I'm about halfway done. I've been working on this for about a month. I want to say I cast it on mid-February. I wanted something to work on at the hospital that was like kind of easy, and frankly I barely worked on this at all at the hospital. I didn't work on it at all while I was in labor. I worked on it a little bit afterwards because I had the baby like early in the morning, and then we had to be there all day and all night basically at the hospital, and then we didn't leave until like after midday the next day. So there was some time where like the baby was sleeping and I was just hanging out, and I did a little bit of knitting. But most of this has been done since we got home. And, oh, another thing about rowing out, I guess we're just following my stream of consciousness here. I find that it's more pronounced when I'm using larger needles than when on smaller needles. I'll show you a project that I'm knitting now on 3mm needles that I'm currently knitting flat, and there's like no rowing out at all. So it's just annoying and I don't like it, but it is what it is. Anyway, I was going to say something else, but now I don't remember. Oh, sizing. The pocket swatch. So that was the first thing I did. I swatched for this like in January maybe, and my gauge was a little bit off. I think this is meant to be 15 stitches and my pocket swatch was 16.5 stitches, and I didn't want to change needle size at all because this is already a pretty lightweight fabric. This whole body is less than 250 grams of yarn, and it's like a very light yarn. I didn't want it to be looser gauge because this is already like a fairly open large gauge for this fabric. So I decided to just kind of choose a size accordingly. I typically knit medium in Ozetta, the 3rd size, and it usually works great for me. Maybe it's the 4th size now. She might have added an extra small, but I typically knit the size medium for my bust circumference, which is like my pre-pregnancy bust circumference. Obviously that's fluctuating right now, but that's generally the size that I go for. But with a smaller gauge, with my 16.5 stitch gauge, I decided to knit the stitch counts for the size large, knowing that I would get the ease of something between the small and the medium, which was totally fine. I think it was going to be like 115 to 120 centimeters. I measured my gauge last night when I was blocking this, and it was a little bit bigger than my swatch. I think it was 15.5 stitches. So I think, and now I don't have a measuring tape handy to measure it again, but I think that my actual piece is going to end up having the ease of something between the medium and the large, maybe closer to what the medium was supposed to be. I don't know. It's not going to be perfectly true to size, but I did knit the lengths in the pattern for the medium. So my actual row gauge was pretty spot on. So like in the pattern, Ozetta, in most of her patterns, Ozetta will say like knit this many rows or this length. And so I followed the length measurement for the medium. So like for the back yoke, she's like, knit this many rows or until it measures, I don't know, like 12 inches or whatever. So I would, or 12.5 for the medium and 13.25 for the large or whatever. Though I don't know that those are the real numbers. I'm just making things up. So what I would do is I had the stitch counts for the large, but I would knit to the length of the medium so that it wasn't too oversized, because again, my row gauge was spot on. So I think we'll land somewhere, some kind of hybrid between the medium and the large. The other modification I did is I added like 1/2 inch to the length of the body between the armhole separation and the ribbing, the bottom hem, or where you do the shaping rather, just because I was worried it was going to be too short. And it's not, and I don't think that 1/2 inch made a huge difference anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then the other change that I made is that I knit the bottom ribbing a little bit longer. If you followed me for any amount of time, you know I'm like really weird about ribbing lengths. I really like my ribbing lengths to match. And I was reading through the pattern and noticed that the sleeve cuffs were kind of long and then all of the ribbings were a little bit skinnier. And so the ribbing on the pockets matched the ribbing on the bottom hem, but that was narrower than the ribbing on the button band, which was narrower than the collar and the sleeves. So like that was too many ribbing lengths for me. So what I decided to do is make the ribbing on the bottom the same as will be on the button band, and I will also make the pocket ribbing the same. So we have the button band hem ribbing, and then the ribbing on the cuffs and the collar will be a little bit wider, but I'm just weird about ribbing. So that's what I decided to do. This I think is like, I don't know, 1/2 inch longer than it's supposed to be in the pattern. So overall my body length was like 1 inch longer than the pattern's written. It's not huge. But yeah, other than that, I followed it to pattern, stitch count wise and everything. Yeah, short row shaping on the bottom is really clever. I like the back structured detail. So I'm excited to keep working on this. I'm kind of like trying to jam out another project really quick that I'll talk to you about in a second, but I will come back to this after. I think it'll be really nice for spring because it's a good lightweight layer, and we're kind of in this weather right now in Seattle that's like, it's starting to warm up, and I don't know, it's like so cold most of the time that it's like it's in like the 50s mostly, which is not warm, but I'm like, I don't want to wear a coat anymore. So I usually don't wear a coat. Like I just went for a walk with the baby and I was just wearing this sweatsuit. But this would be a nice layer to throw over for a little extra warmth, because sometimes you like get overzealous when it's sunny but a little bit cold and you start going outside and you're like, I probably should have worn another layer. So that will be really nice, I think, for spring summer. This is actually only the second time I've ever knit a cardigan, and actually my other cardigan was an Ozetta pattern too. So that is that. Well, a cardigan for me. I have knit cardigans for babies, but anyway, I don't know why I added that detail, but I'm excited to have another cardigan jacket in my wardrobe. I think it will be really nice. So yes, I'm going to keep plugging away on that. Depending on when I'm able to film next, that may or may not be done. Probably not though. So yeah, that's my model shirt jacket. My next whip that I want to talk to you about, I'll just mention really briefly because I pulled this out with the best of intentions and then haven't made a ton of progress on this. This is my anemone sweater, which I started in 2022. And I got through the yoke and then I kind of put it away for a while, like a whole year. But I pulled it back out again before I had the baby and started working on the sleeves. And then now I've done like not very much, and I haven't worked on it in a couple of weeks. So anyway, this is on my radar. I want to keep working on it. It's going to be like, this is not, by the time I finish it, it's going to be too warm for it. It's not like I'm going to finish it anytime soon anyway. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's going to be very thick because it's like all illustrated color work. But it's not really fall colors. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to keep working on it, plugging away on it. It's a long-term project, obviously, since it's been on the needles for well over a year now. Year and a half basically. But I think it's really cute. I like it a lot. I think it'll be great when it's done. So I'm going to keep working on it. And that's all really. I'm using Briggs & Little Heritage, which is their worsted weight. In the color yellow WO is the contrast, and then the white is just like a unraveled sweater, plain white, 100% wool that I'm using. So yeah, we're making some progress on the sleeve. And that's where I've gotten to so far. So yeah, that's just like on my radar of something that I aspire to work on, but have not, because there's so many other fun things that I want to be working on. Okay. Oh wait, I have 2 more works in progress. I'm sure you're all eager to see this because I thought it was going to be finished by the last time I saw you. My Amy Slipover. This is the Amy Slipover by Sanne Skarn, and I'm making a very modified version of it in Hillesvåg-esque, which is a lovely 100% Norwegian lamb's wool. And I have finished the body of it. I think last time I spoke to you, I was maybe had just started the front panel, or was like a little bit of a ways down the front panel. I've now finished the whole body, and I'm trying to decide what to do about the ties, which is something I spoke to you at length about the last time I saw you. But I had started working on the ties and I was still pregnant, and I was like, I don't even know that this is the right length. Like, I'm just going to wait until I have the baby and I don't have a giant stomach anymore to gauge how this is going to fit on my body, which I'm glad I did. But I haven't picked it back up since because I was working on my Miles jacket and I'm still unsure about how I want to do the ties. So that's kind of why this is at rest, but it is really cute so far. And I used less yarn than I thought. I think I have about 75 grams of yarn left. I only have 200 grams of this yarn, which is like just under 700 meters. It's not a lot, but I think it's good. Let me actually, I hope this doesn't rustle up the microphone terribly, but we can actually put this on and see how it's fitting. So I modified the neck quite a lot. I believe I talked about it in my last video at length, and I think I have notes on my Ravelry page. So you're welcome to check out both of those if you want to learn more about how I modified the neck and the shoulders and everything. It's a little bit more narrow than the pattern, I think. But anyway, I will stand up and we can look at this together. I added some length to the body and I added some length to the ribbing. So let me scoot you back again and we can see where it's hitting. So it's a little bit, it's still kind of cropped and it's a little bit longer than the pattern calls for. Yeah, I feel like my one concern is that the ties are going to be kind of high up under my boobs. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit unsure about this, frankly. Like maybe it should still be a little longer. What do we think? What do we think? It looks kind of like a bib right now. It looks kind of silly. But anyway, I feel like maybe it still needs to be a little longer in the body. And I'm thinking I'm just going to do an I-cord for the ties. I could add length to the body and just do an I-cord to the ties. Or should I add length above? Like this is my other concern. Do I need to add some length above the armhole shaping? Like if this was an actual slipover, I don't know. I'm unsure. This is another reason why I stopped working on this, because I'm feeling a bit unsure. What do we think? Does it need to be a little bit longer? I don't know. This is a pretty good length. Like I don't want a really, really long vest. I think I'm just mostly unsure about the tie situation, but they would be about here. And if they're loose, I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling a bit uncomfortable in my postpartum body. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I don't know that I want to do a lot of ribbing on the shoulders like the pattern has, because I kind of like where it's landing. It's like right at the edge of my shoulders. Okay. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Could use some opinions. I love the color. I don't know. I don't know what color it is because when I bought this yarn at the Hillesvåg mill, it didn't have a number on it. So I think it's dusty blue, but it's beautiful. Dusty. It's like it looks like dusty petroleum blue from Knitting for Olive. So anyway, there it is. The rowing out is like almost non-existent on this. That's the other thing. And this is knit on a 3mm needle. So smaller needles, I don't have as big of a rowing out issue. You can see a little bit up here, but for smaller needles, I just don't have the same rowing out problem that I do on larger needles. So that's where we're at on this. Not a huge update, but I'm just not really sure what to do about the ties. Let me know what you think. I'm feeling a bit confused about it. So yeah, anyway, that's my Amy Slipover. I have so many whips, it's a little overwhelming. My last work in progress, I just cast on yesterday. And I'm making the Holger set by Petite Knit, which is a brand new pattern. A little bit Holger baby set, that's what I'm doing. And I'm making the 1 to 2 year size because I want to aspirationally take a photo of my daughter in the sweater every month until she turns 1 year old, so you can like see her growing into it. But she turns 4 weeks, 1 month old in like 1 week. And this is how far I've gone on the sweater. I don't think I need to finish the pants for that photo. I think I'm more just worried about the sweater. But it's a drop shoulder sweater knit on 3mm needles and fingering weight yarn. And this is as far as I've gotten. I think I could do it. This is the only thing I knit on for the next week. To be fair, I don't knit as much. I have like maybe an hour to 2 hours of knitting time a day these days instead of like 4 or 5 hours of knitting time a day. But still, I think I could do it. So this is what I'm working with. I'm using the Sunday by Sundus Garn. I don't remember what color number it is, but I will put it on the screen. I think it's discontinued because I got this at my local yarn store on sale. But it's this really pretty kind of salmony, pinky, orangey color. It's like a terracotta maybe, but with more pink in it. I don't really know how to describe it. It's really cute. And I have 150 grams of it, which should be enough to just barely eke out the top, the sweater and the pants of the Holger baby set. So yes, that's my goal, is to at least finish the sweater by the time she turns 1 month so I can take a picture of her in it. And I want to embroider either just her initial or her whole name on it. Her name is Caroline, by the way. So I don't know if I want to just embroider a C on there or just like write Caroline. I haven't decided yet, but I have to finish the sweater first. So we'll see if I can do it. I'll tell you in my next video. But this is about 1.5 inches of knitting so far, and I've worked on it for probably an hour, so got a ways to go. But it's a baby sweater, you know? How hard can it be? I don't know. That's my latest work in progress. Okay, I think that's it for whips for me. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5. It's a lot. Yes. Okay. So the other thing that I want to talk to you about is spinning, because I have a spinning wheel now. Here it is. I got it. This is my spinning wheel. I ended up getting, I've been wanting one for ages, and my husband said he would get me one as like a birthday, anniversary, Christmas, baby present. So I was trying to decide which one to get, and I took a little spinning class actually the very end of January, maybe beginning of February. I don't remember now. I think it was the first week of February. I took a spinning class at Surrounded by the Sea, which is a yarn store in Edmonds, which is just north of Seattle. And it was a great class. So if you're looking for spinning classes around here, that's a great resource. It's like the only local yarn store that there is a yarn store in West Seattle that also Seattle Yarn offers spinning classes, which I didn't know. But Surrounded by the Sea offers spinning classes, and they sell wheels, and you can try them in the store. So if you're interested in buying a spinning wheel and you live near Seattle, that's a great resource. I went in like around Christmas time, like because we were taking the ferry from Edmonds to Kingston, and I just stopped in because, why wouldn't you? And they had the wheels, so I wanted to try them out, and they let you try them out in the store. It was great. It's a lovely store. So anyway, I digress. But I ended up going for the Ashford Kiwi, which I did not try before. At the spinning class, I rented a wheel and I used the Shocked Ladybug. I also tried out the Matchless, and they were great. But I wasn't like super sold on them. And then I had been looking on Facebook Marketplace for spinning wheels for like months, basically since the summertime. And this one popped up. Ashford Kiwi 3, like basically brand new for less than retail, like significantly less than retail. I think they go right now for like, this is the lacquered version, I'm pretty sure. And so I think that retails for like $700. I paid $450 for this, which is a lot of money, but really good deal for like basically an unused spinning wheel. It was a little dusty. It had been sitting in her garage for a while, but she had like hardly used it at all. So I was really excited. I hadn't tried this wheel before buying it, but I gave it a little try before I bought it, and it was great. And after using it for several weeks now, I'm really happy with it. I bought it like second weekend of February. So I got to use it a little bit before the baby came and like get used to it and everything. Anyway, I really like it, and I'm really happy. And I've been doing actually quite a lot of spinning because it's easy to pick up and put down, which sounds weird, but it is really easy to stop, and you can just do it for a couple minutes whenever she's like sleeping or if her dad has her or whatever. So I've been doing a lot of spinning. So I want to show you some of my spinning. Also, my mom was here. She was here for about 2 weeks after the baby came, and she was spinning the entire time she was here. She had a bunch of fiber left over from like needle felting projects that we'd done when we were kids. She has a ton of fiber, and she spun up so much fiber while she was here. She was having a great time. So if she ever comes to visit me again, I feel like she's going to be coming to visit my spinning wheel and not me, but that's okay. Anyway, so I had been working on this drop spindle project that I showed you a few times. These are my drop spindly skeins. It is it's a marled yarn that I spun up on my drop spindle. The gray is a Jacob Icelandic blend, and the white is 100% Cheviot. So I'd spun up 2 skeins on my drop spindle, and I'd spun up the rest of the gray. I have 2 ounces of each, so 100 grams total, right? About 4 ounces total of fiber. And I'd spun up all of the Jacob, and I'd spun up a good amount of the Cheviot on my drop spindle. And then I got the wheel, and I was trying to continue spinning on my drop spindle, and I was like, this is so boring. I don't want to do this anymore. So I spun up the rest of the Cheviot on my wheel, and then I plied it on the wheel. So these 2 I plied on the drop spindle, and this skein I have plied on the wheel. So they're a little different, but I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, you can tell these are definitely a lot looser spun and looser plied. This one I actually kind of over plied a little bit when I first spun it up. And so I ran it back through the wheel to take some of the twist out of the ply. And I'm really happy with how it is right now. So I'll hold it up close so you can see. I think it looks honestly pretty nice for like my first big plied skein on the wheel. There's a couple places where it's still a little over plied and a little overspun, but all in all, like I'm quite happy with it. And I'd say it's probably like, and it's a little thick and thin, but for the most part, it's honestly probably like a sport, fingering to sport weight. It's a pretty thin yarn. I find that I have a tendency to spin quite thin. So, yeah, I'm really happy with this. So this is all of this skein is about 150 meters. I don't know how much is in here, but I probably have about 300, maybe a little less than that, total meterage of this yarn, and I want to make a hat out of it. That's my plan. And so, I don't know when I'm going to cast that on, probably when I finish my jacket and my Holger baby set. But yes, I'm really happy with those. So I'm going to use these pretty soon. I'm excited. My little hand spuns. They're so cute. But before I spun that yarn, plied that yarn on the wheel, I did some practice spinning. So these are my little, oh look, I have some more of that hand spun. I have some little practice skeins that I did. So this fiber, I have no idea what it is, but I bought it before I went to buy the wheel because I wanted to take some fiber with me to try it out. And I'm glad I did. This is just like a random fiber that I got at a yarn store in Seattle. And I think it's for needle felting, so it's not like the nicest fiber ever. And obviously you can tell that the spin on it is not great on this tiny little skein. There are some, I'll maybe put some B-roll in if I remember. There's some very thick and thin places. There's some pretty nubby parts, but by the end I was starting to get the hang of it. So that was my first singles and first ply. And then I remembered that I had some fiber samples that I received when I bought the Cheviot for this. I bought it from Fiber Fate on Etsy, and she sent me 2 little samples. So this is some BFL and this is some Shetland Morit. So I spun those up as practices as well, and I really like how they turned out. This is the BFL. Can you see it? I'll try and put some B-roll in as well. It's not, again, like there's some pretty thick and thin places in here. This is definitely like a DK to worsted weight yarn, but I think it looks really, like there's also some really nice spots in this yarn. I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see that, but like that is a really lovely little piece of yarn. So this is really cute. And I really liked the BFL. It's very silky and very smooth, and very lovely to spin with. So that was that one. And then this is my Shetland Morit, which I think is my favorite of the 3. This is the 3rd one that I spun of the 3 little samples. And this I would also say is probably a DK to a worsted. It puffed up a lot with washing. So this has also been kind of like a fun little breed sample for me to try out a couple different breeds and see how they act and behave. I really like the Shetland, but I think this one looks really good. The ply is very even, balanced. I think this is like the best skein that I've ever spun. So really happy with these. So super fun little samples. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, if I'm just going to like keep them, or I might knit a little swatch to see how they behave, because I haven't knitted with any of my hand spun yarn yet. But yeah, those are my little samples. I think they're so cute, and I had a great time spinning them. So this is all the yarn that I've spun so far, all of my hand spun. And it lives in here. By the way, my mom like helped me organize my life while she was here, because she's the best. And we got these shelves from IKEA, and they sit behind me in this little nook in my basement. There's like a closet here and then a room here, but there's like this little bump out where there's the window up here. And I had my set up here in this little armchair, and she was like, let's get your life together. So we got a bunch of these little mini Billy bookcases from IKEA, and these baskets that fit perfectly in there. And most, like probably 90% of my yarn stash now lives behind me, and it's organized. Each of these bins has like a different weight of yarn, and it's lovely, and I'm feeling great because everything's together, and like my trinks are here, and my Swift is over here, and my spinning wheel's here. Anyway, this is where my fiber lives. So my spinning things. Anyway, I digress. Actually, that is a good point. If you'd like a stash tour, an updated stash tour, I did one maybe early 2022, so almost 2 years ago now. If you like an updated stash tour, that could be a fun thing to film. So let me know if you're interested in that. Anyway, back to spinning. My mom brought a bunch of fiber with her because she had it. And so I wanted to try dyeing some of it, because, you know, there's lots of beautiful hand-dyed fiber online. But I was feeling a little apprehensive about buying kind of like expensive fiber and spinning it and having it be ugly and feeling like I wasted my money. So instead, I used my mom's fiber, and I wanted to dye it because I wasn't sure if I was going to like the look of the like hand dyed spun yarn. I'm not a big spin cycle girly. It's not really my taste, but I wanted to try it and see what I thought. So some of the fiber she brought, I have some more of it. It's just like white. We have no idea what breed it is, but it's 100% wool, just white fiber. So I took some of this and dyed it with some of my acid dyes that I have. And I don't know that I took a picture of the fiber before I spun it up, but I spun it up, and this is what it looks like. So I think it turned out really cute. It's pinks and greens, and part of it came out kind of lavendery. Mostly pinks, and there's a little bit of green in there, but I'm really pleased with this. Like, I dyed this fiber and spun this yarn, and it made me feel very productive. And I really enjoyed spinning it, and I really enjoyed plying it. And I'm not sure that the dyeing was my favorite part, but I'm really happy with how it came out. I have no idea what I'm going to use this for. I have 130-ish meters of this, and I'd say it's probably a DK weight. I haven't done wraps per inch or anything, but like, if you look here, we'll see if it focuses. Come on, not on me, on the yarn. Like, that's pretty nice, probably DK weight yarn, maybe a little puffier than that, but I'm really happy with it. So I'm thinking I will either use this in like one of the new Caitlin Hunter hat patterns, like her Alpine Bloom hat, or the Valentine's Day one she came out with that has the hearts in it, would look cute with the pink. Or I could use this in a colorwork project for the baby. So that's my thoughts. I don't know, it's fun. I have no idea how it's gonna knit up, but it's pretty. And now I'm thinking, well, if I can find something to use this in and I like it, I might be converted to hand-dyed fiber. But yes, anyway, now that I've done this, I know in not my January knits video, but what was that video that I just did? Review my queue, that video, the most recent video that I posted before this one, I was talking about how I wanted to spin for a Great Gingham Raglan, and I'm feeling like I'm confident enough to do that now that I've done a fair amount of spinning, and I like how my yarn is turning out. I think I will knit with it first before I commit to that, but yes. So I'm thinking maybe I'll actually do some Shetland Moret, because I really liked working with that fiber. So anyway, yes, that's my spinning. That's a lot of what I've been working on recently. So yes, I love my wheel. I'm really happy with it. It was a great purchase and I like it especially because I got it for a good deal. So yeah. Okay. Last thing is acquisitions, which I'll keep brief. The big one was the spinning wheel. We love her. She's great. But I also did a little order from Nutiden because I decided that I deserved a little treat because my baby was overdue. Not by very many days, but I was like thinking she was maybe gonna, if you've ever been pregnant, anytime after like 37 weeks, you feel like it could be any day that the baby could come. When realistically, you know that it, especially for a first time mother like me, very unlikely that she comes before that, before her due date. But I don't know. Like the whole 39th week was miserable. I was so tired and I was just like every day hoping she was going to be here and she wasn't here and it was hard. But all that to say, I was feeling sorry for myself. So I bought myself some Nutiden, which I've been wanting I wanted to try Nutiden for a long time. I love unspun yarn and it is very popular and it's unspun yarn I haven't tried before. So I bought myself some. And this is what I got. It's hard to capture the color of Nutiden on camera, I'm finding. I feel like the colors that were shared on their Instagram and on their shop were even different than how they look in person. And it was really hard, especially for this particular collection, which is the February collection. I feel like it was really hard to get like an accurate description or photo of the colors and the spinning fiber. They had spinning fiber in the shop update, which was part of the reason I wanted to shop it. And I thought it was really hard to tell a difference between the colors. So the color that I chose that I ended up buying, I'm not sure that it is the one I would have chosen if there had been better pictures. But anyway, it's fine. Back to the yarn. This is the unspun yarn in the color Knut. No, that's not the color. I will put it on the screen. But it's this really beautiful yellow. It looks much more yellow on the camera than it does in real life. This is like, it's a little bit paler in real life. And there's interesting color variation. It's almost like a lighter version of the Briggs & Little, where there's kind of like some orange in it, some like darker orange and some lighter yellows. And I think it's really pretty. It doesn't smell so sheepy like the Manchilopes, but yes, I got 500 grams of it. And my plan is to make the cloud sweater by Petite Knit. I think in that yarn, it'll be really lovely in that color too, and very wearable in my wardrobe. So I have that waiting in the wings. I don't know when I will cast it on. We'll see. But I got that, which is very fun. And then I also got some spinning fiber, which let me pull out of here. It's in my basket of spinning fiber things. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to pull it out because it's like a huge fiber bat. This right here. It's 200 grams. It's like a fluffy cloud. And it's kind of like a really pale greeny gray is how I would describe the color. Also not really showing up great. That's maybe a better representation of the color right there. It's a very pale greeny gray. It's so light and fluffy. And I'm really excited to spin it. I have no idea what I would use it for. The only thing is that I would like to spin it woolen. And I don't know how to do that. I only know how to spin short forward or short backwards draft. So I want to try and practice some woolen spinning. So I need to figure out how to do that with the fiber that I have. I've seen some videos where you can use combed top like this and spin from the fold to get more of a woolen prep. But let me know if you have thoughts or feelings about spinning, or if you've ever spun this Nutiden fiber, which is so beautiful. Yeah, let me know what you think. If you have suggestions or resources, let me know. So yes, that's my acquisition. I have no regrets, but I also don't plan to buy anything else for a while, yarn-wise, because I have yarn for a lot of projects and I have a lot of projects that I need to work on. I'm saying this out loud, but I might, I am who I am. I'm going to try not to buy any new yarn until the Flock Fiber Festival, which is in August in Seattle, which feels realistic. I definitely have 6 months worth of yarn to knit through and more, and plenty of projects to do. So I might buy some fiber before then, but I'm going to try not to buy any yarn. So we'll see. I would like to also thin out some of these baskets so that I can put my fabric in here as well. Right now, this is all yarn. Like there are 9 of these cubes, 8 of them are full of yarn and one of them has all my books in it. But I would like to knit through my stash to a point where I can start putting some of my fabric stash in these cubes as well, which lives in a closet in this other room, and is a whole nother thing. So yes. Speaking of sewing, I guess since we're on the topic, I do have plans to start sewing again. I'm very excited. I made a whole video last year of like all these spring things that I wanted to sew, and then I sewed none of them because I got pregnant. But I do want to sew again, and I'm really excited because I bought the Sid tie top and dress pattern, which I will put a picture of here. It's very cute. It's a brand new pattern that just came out from a lovely new pattern designer. She's so cute, and I really want to make this dress and probably a top version too. And so I just need to find the plug for my printer so I can print the pattern out, but I really do want to make this pretty soon. I think it's perfect for spring. It's great for breastfeeding with the ties. So I really want to do that. So yes, eyes peeled. That's something I want to work on soon as well. But yeah, that is all I have to talk about. That's it for me. This was not a short video. I think I've just missed you all and missed talking about my crafts. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being patient, as I know this video is a little later than usual, but I'm really glad I was able to film it and put it out for you all because it's really fun for me and it's nice to be able to do something for myself and for you. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. If you have any suggestions about any of the things that I talked about, let me know. If you want to see a yarn stash tour, let me know. I think it could also be fun to do a Q&A here pretty soon on my channel. It's like a relatively easy video I could do during a nap time. So if you'd like to see a Q&A, let me know, and you can leave comments down below. Maybe I'll ask for those again also in my next video. But yes, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the first signs of spring, and I will see you again very soon.